Hello everyone, I am Jinx and this is
Josh.
And this is Yaya. That would be Raya. In 2015, we moved from East Tennessee to Southern Oregon. And at the time, I had just started my YouTube channel, so I wasn't really into the whole vlogging thing. So I didn't document our experience moving. And I regret that so bad. I think about that all the time, don't I? I'm always like, I wish I would have recorded, because I didn't film like the experience at all. Anyways, recently several of you have reached out to me asking what our experience was like with the move. So we figured that we would sit down and tell you a bit about it, like what we did, how we did it, and just what it was like for us.
Yeah.
I had been wanting or thinking about moving across the country for quite a while, and then Josh and I had just seriously started dating because we were friends for like 8 years before that, and I was talking to him about wanting to move, and he said that he would come with me. And were you did you think that I was serious when I said I wanted to move, or did you think that I was just talking? Because I feel like he didn't think that I was really serious. He was just like, I'll follow you wherever you go. And I was like, okay.
Turns out it's true.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I ever actually would have made the move, but when he was like, I'll follow you wherever you go, and then I was just like, okay, well, so now I'm not alone, so I'm doing it. So I started researching. Originally, I had my eyes on California. I was wanting to move to California, but the more research I did, I started discovering more about Oregon, and I just loved everything that I found about Oregon. So we went on a road trip together. Like, it was an East Coast road trip. We went to Myrtle Beach and up to New York City and down through Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I saw a lot of water towers.
Oh my God. The whole trip, because that was kind of like your first road trip.
Yeah, when I lived in Tennessee, like, we didn't go on a lot of vacations. Like, this trip that we took up the East Coast was the first one long trip that I'd taken. I was taking pictures of all the towns we were passing.
You were taking pictures of every single water tower.
Yeah, because they usually have like the name of the town or something, like the county. You know, our progression.
I was so baffled by that. I was like, well, I think I was getting a little annoyed, like, why are you taking pictures of all the water towers? Did we get in like a little argument about Like, that trip kind of sparked something inside of us, didn't it?
Yeah, when we got back, it was just, I mean, everything was the same old stuff that we've been doing for like the past 20-something years.
When we got back from that trip, it was kind of like, this is it for us. Like, we're moving. Like, I knew personally, like, I wanted to move, and I wanted to move as soon as possible. So once we got back from that trip, I just started getting rid of all of our stuff, like everything. I was selling stuff. I was giving stuff away. We kept what we absolutely needed.
It had to fit in our green car.
We decided that we were going to get rid of all of our stuff, and we were going to sell our house. Before we moved, we did have our doubts. We were worried. We were scared. We wondered if, like, we were making the right decision, you know, especially because we had kids with us. Me, anyways. I'm not sure how you felt, but I second-guessed a lot before the move and thought, like, am I doing the right thing? Like, should I really sell my house and take this risk of moving across the country? What if everything goes wrong? What if it doesn't work out? Like, I was scared. Were you scared?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, I mean, it was a huge risk and a big jump for us, especially considering, like we said, we'd only gone on that one big trip. Other than that, we'd basically stayed in the same area, so
yeah,
it was intimidating.
We decided that the boys were going to stay with my mom in Tennessee because they weren't done with the school year, so they were going to finish out the school year in Tennessee. Josh and I were going to drive to Oregon. We were going to find a place to live, and then I was going to fly back to Tennessee and get the boys and bring them back.
This is the last time we'll drive away from here. Are you sad?
It's a little bittersweet.
What about you, Kira? Are you excited?
We didn't know exactly where in Oregon we wanted to live at first. We had looked at Salem and the Portland area and Eugene and all over. We kind of chose Grants Pass because of the area, because it was like near the redwoods and kind of close to the coast. And Josh ended up getting a job transfer.
Yeah, I was working at Ross back in Tennessee. Ross Dress for Less.
So once he got accepted for his job transfer in Grants Pass, it was just like, okay, well, that's it. So which was good because we had our eye on Grants Pass anyway.
And it was nice having some sort of a foothold when we first got here. Like,
Knowing that he had a
3 days
job.
after we got here, I started work.
And I ran an Etsy shop at the time, so I was able to bring that with me. We ended up spending 5 days driving across the country, just me and Josh and the dog, and we kind of made a road trip out of it. Our car was really small, so we did end up putting a trailer hitch on our Fiesta, and we had a little cargo carrier so we could pile extra stuff on, so
And
that helped us pack more.
at one point, I thought I lost like $3,000.
Oh my gosh, that was so stressful. I always forget about that until you mention it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
I was
Oh my
losing it a
gosh.
little bit.
Yeah, and then he left his camera on the roof of the car at one point. We stopped at a rest area and it fell.
This was like day one of the trip.
Yeah. So once we got to Oregon, we stayed at the Motel 6.
The room was brand new when we got it.
It was really nice. We walked in the room and we were like, wow, this is cool. Like, it's like a little apartment.
5 weeks later, I wanted to burn that place down.
Okay, so we couldn't find a place to live when we got to Oregon. The housing in Southern Oregon was so competitive. I don't know if it's improved since then, but at the time, like, there were no rentals available. We went to property management companies. We drove around looking for signs in front yards. We read newspapers. We looked on Craigslist. We literally looked any and everywhere, and we couldn't even find a house to view. There were no even houses to look at. Like, there was nothing. And so we had hoped to have a place to live by the time Blaine and Merrick finished school and came to Oregon. But by the time it was time to go get the boys from Tennessee, we still hadn't found a place to live.
Yeah, and the places, there were some houses for rent, but the ones we did find didn't allow dogs.
Yeah, and we had
And
a
we
dog.
have a German Shepherd.
Months later, we still didn't have a place to live, and it was miserable. There were 4 people, 2 adults, 2 kids, and a big, hairy German Shepherd living in this teeny tiny Motel 6 room. And like the Motel 6, it didn't even have a refrigerator and a microwave.
No, we had our skillet.
Yeah, we bought a plug-in skillet and all of the stuff that we continued to accumulate because, you know, we
Bowls,
were living, yeah.
silverware,
Yeah, because we had to
trash
eat.
can all of a sudden.
Yeah, so all this stuff was piling up in this teeny tiny motel room, and it was so cluttered. Every time we had to do dishes, it was in this little bathroom sink, and we couldn't like buy groceries and cook our own meals hardly, except for that little electric skillet. We couldn't refrigerate anything. It was miserable. And we couldn't find a place to live. So we were stressed out, and it was expensive too. All of like our money was just going like that because we were having to live in this hotel room and we were having to go out to eat a lot.
And we ended up like staying at a few different hotels throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
And a retirement community at one point.
Yeah, well, we had lived in the Motel 6 room for like 2 months, and finally we absolutely could not take it anymore. So we found a listing on Craigslist for a temporary, like a retirement community in a duplex. And it was kind of expensive, but we just wanted out of that motel room. So I called, and they allowed us to stay in this retirement community for a month or 2. I think we stayed two months.
But we ended up switching
Yeah.
duplexes.
Eventually, we realized that we weren't going to be able to find a rental.
That's what ultimately led to us saying, starting to look into buying a house as opposed to just renting.
By the time we decided to buy a house, I mean, we were running really low on money, and our jobs weren't that great. So we had to get my mom's help. She had to help us with a down payment for the house, and she had to co-sign the loan. We found this house, and it was like at the top of our price range, but it was the largest house within our price range. But the house itself was disgusting. It was the nastiest house. Like, you walked in and it was covered in like carpet that was covered in cat feces, and
like there were pee stains and other there were numerous foul smelling stains all throughout the house, and on the floors, upstairs, downstairs, even in the bedrooms.
And there's cat doors in the walls, not just in the doors. And the cat doors are still in our walls to this day. We've got a cat door in the bathroom and a cat door in our bedroom, but it's kind of hidden behind a bookshelf so you can't see it. But there were cat doors, and the house smelled like a cat litter box. And the house had been sitting empty for 2 years before we got here, so it was infested with spiders.
And had been moved in by transits at one point.
Yeah, people were squatting in the house, and it was just disgusting. The kitchen, I feel like the whole kitchen was covered in a layer of grease. Do you remember that? It was disgusting. The counters, the cabinets, everything. It was like, did a grease bomb explode in here?
You spent like a week scrubbing that kitchen.
Oh,
and
man.
then we painted the cabinets. It was like, what, the first month of us owning the house, we lived in the garage?
Yeah, the house was so gross that we could not live in it at first. So we slept on the garage floor in sleeping bags, and it was very uncomfortable.
So much fun.
The boys were not allowed in the house like with bare feet or anything because it was so gross, and we had to get new floors. And so we accumulated furniture in our garage while we fixed up the house slowly, little by little. But everything ended up working out in the end. And the house ended up being in the area that we wanted to live. So we're happy in our neighborhood. I mean, we like our house. We're happy with our house. We have plenty of room here. So it all ended up working out.
We did end up racking up quite a bit of debt in the move.
Yeah. Well, we would have had enough for all the stuff we plan on rebuying.
But we were in those hotels and stuff for so long that we ate up a lot of all of our money that we were going to spend on stuff for the house.
Yeah, so by the time we got in the house, we ended up having to get like a stove and a couch, mattresses for our beds and stuff,
Fridge.
and a refrigerator, like everything. And so we had to use our credit cards for a lot of stuff. I ended up getting a job at a seed company, so that helped.
And I had switched over to working at Goodwill, where I was getting a little bit more hours, but still it wasn't enough. We met Deanne.
I worked with her at the seed company, and we became friends. And she worked in the cannabis industry, which she helped get Josh a job there, and that helped us a lot.
Yeah, that kept us going for the next few years. So all in all, things worked out really well for us. I don't see how it could have gone better. It could have definitely gone a lot worse.
Yeah.
We ended up with this little monster along the way.
Our story might sound stressful, especially to those of you who are thinking about moving across the country and you're scared to do it. It was stressful, yeah, but it was worth it. I would do it again.
I'm very glad that we left Tennessee. No offense to the people we left there. You are not the place that we left. You are the people that we miss.
Well, once we moved, it kind of like we established our own family, our own traditions, our own life. And we were able to, become us, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely forced us to be closer as a family because, we didn't have anybody else to lean on or spend time with. Really.
Yeah. Also, if we had never, got the courage to move, we always would have wondered, what if?
Yeah, we would have regretted not taking the chance. That's not to say that, some people make the move and it doesn't work out for them. But we've seen and done things since we left Tennessee that we never would have otherwise.
Right. I like how Raya's just sitting here this whole video. We told her she could go play or do whatever she wants to be in the video. So. She likes sitting here when we film and stuff. Our mic just died on us. So now we're having to use the mic on this camera. I guess that's our cue to end the video because our batteries keep dying. My advice to anyone who's wanting to make the move is save up as much money as possible and plan as much as possible and just do it.
Yeah.
Preferably get like a monthly rental on Airbnb if you can't travel in advance and find a house. Because staying in a hotel is not a great idea. I guess that's it, and we're gonna go ahead and end this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching. See ya.
See ya.